Hi guys, thanks for watching out there. Andy here in Wales, UK, with my breakdown of all the big happenings in astrology today. The main information that you need to know in terms of astrology. It's Sunday the 25th of March 2018, Palm Sunday of all things, if you're into that kind of thing. Our clocks in UK went forward 1 hour last night, so all my UK times I'm giving now are GMT +1 or UTC +1. Now the moon is in Cancer, has been since yesterday. We have a void of course coming up tomorrow early in the morning. It's actually at 2 minutes to midnight tonight on the Pacific coast of America and further west than that. But for today, most of the world is going to have the moon in Cancer right the way through. Under a Cancer moon, people's vulnerabilities show out a lot more, and I was talking about this yesterday because this is just the case with a Cancer moon. You don't actually have to be a Cancerian to feel these things, but they are all Cancer related feelings. Touchiness, vulnerability, and people won't always show that vulnerability. It's a kind of time when people can hide their foibles, their things that they're not too proud of. And so you never quite know when you might hit a nerve if you're asking someone for something important. It doesn't have to be a Cancer, you don't have to be a Cancer. That is just the way it's going at the moment. We also have Mercury retrograde, and it's very fully retrograde at the moment. Mercury actually went retrograde on the 22nd in USA and early on the 23rd here in UK of March. And we'll stay retrograde right through until the 15th of April. Mercury really the messenger of the gods, if you like, and also the ruling planet of Gemini and Virgo. It has a lot to do with day-to-day expression, coordinating things, getting things together, communicating with other people to make things happen. And when Mercury is retrograde, it doesn't necessarily all go wrong. People always think Mercury retrograde is a terrible thing. Not necessarily so, but things do go up in the air a bit, and again misunderstandings come. So there's the moon in Cancer and there's the Mercury retrograde, all playing into the possible misunderstandings, the ways things could maybe not go the way we really want them to. So just tread carefully is the thing. Try not to raise the stakes too much, try not to up the ante. Just keep things on as much of a level as you can. It's not a void, of course, but that is just about the way I treat it, actually, when I've got both of these situations going on, Moon in Cancer and Mercury retrograde. But that's the way, Mercury retrograde is going through its most intense time at the moment, really. It's really most intense on the days that it stations direct, and that is 2 days ago now. But the intensity is still quite strong. It peters out a bit and then it gets intense again towards the end. And it's really just reminding us of things, making us aware of things that we hadn't really taken any notice of before and that we should take notice of. And really, it's nothing to blame Mercury for. A lot of people think, well, Mercury brings this. These things come along during a Mercury retrograde, and that's something that astrologers have observed for many thousands of years. That is, I suppose that depends on how old you think the human race is. But certainly it has been observed ever since there's been a human race that when the planet Mercury makes this retrograde motion in the sky, which it doesn't really happen, it's as we view it from Earth, then we get these communication difficulties. That's simple. Really, what actually happens in life over a Mercury retrograde is very rarely simple. But, I talk a lot when we look at spaceweather.com. I can't actually do that today, I'm afraid, because I'm not live. I'm recording this the night before. It's taken about 12, 13 hours to upload things if I don't compress them. And if I do compress them, they just look really depressing. They should call it depressing them, not compressing them. So I can't give you a live space weather thing at the moment, but I'm pretty sure there'll be no sunspots on the face of the sun, and there will actually be some solar wind. All these things play into the situations that come up as we go through our day. Now, a lot of people have had communication issues and problems like that. That actually could be to do with the solar wind. We've had some quite strong solar wind. Haven't seen any solar flares for a while, but there's a massive coronal hole in the face of the sun, which is pumping out solar wind, and that reaches us, and it puts many thousands of extra volts of charge into our ionosphere over and above the normal sort of running rate of electrical charge that we have. That really does play into electronics, so that That isn't Mercury retrograde's fault if that's happening. It's just that in this day and age, communication is electronics, isn't it? It's just never been this kind of world before. But we've had sunspots and we've had solar flares before in the past, which have caused terrible problems with the American telegraph system, for example, way back in the early part of the last century, in the 20th century. So strange effects really are possible because of nothing to do with Mercury. The kind of Mercury retrograde situation I think that's going to come up, right? I was watching Ali Law. I don't know if you watch Ali Law, but he's one of my favourite YouTubers. He's a young guy that climbs up buildings and gets arrested. Now, he actually got arrested on Mercury retrograde day, and the police took all his cameras, all his stuff, his laptops, everything he got. He looked quite depressed about it, and then his friends rallied round and helped him out a bit with that. That, to me, sounds like a Mercury retrograde issue. Yeah, I'm not trying to make any kind of astrological capital out of that, but that, to me, has got Mercury retrograde written all over it. It's just the way you described it, because he will get that stuff back. Now, this shows, you see, it's not Mercury's fault at all. He is a man who climbs up buildings and gets arrested by the police for a living, and he got arrested by the police. Well, it's going to happen, isn't it? If we want to really have an easy time through a Mercury retrograde or in any way in life, looking at the stars, looking at the planets, it's important. It does give us a lot of insight. But nothing is quite so important as actually trying to live the life yourself, actually trying to be true to what you believe in, and drinking Earl Grey tea with honey in it. Black tea as well. My grandfather made me drink black tea because he was a sailor and he took me on a ship. And he said, black tea stops you feeling seasick. It's also a really good antiseptic, actually, to drink that all the time. Right, well, let me see what else is happening. The sun trines Ceres, or is it Ceres or Ceres today, at 2 minutes past 3 UK time. That's 7:02 let me see, 7:02 AM, so that's really already happened before your day gets cracking, Pacific time. 10:02 AM Eastern, but 15:02, 2 minutes past 3 UK. The sun trines Ceres. Venus conjuncts Eris this evening, 17:50 in UK time. That's 9:50 Pacific or 12:50 Eastern. Hey, I'm really pleased. I've looked up all these times and written them down. I can remember where I've written them down, and I've just about remembered to do them. But I do keep wandering off astrology, don't I? Let us not forget, Jupiter is retrograde in Scorpio and will be for some time, right through until the 10th of July. That actually happened on the 8th of March. Now, Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius, has a lot to do with abundance, tolerance, that kind of thing. Social, working things out socially, basically, finding solutions to problems that involve everybody without excluding people is a Jupiter kind of characteristic. Insight and knowledge are indicated as well, but again, Jupiter doesn't bring any of those things. For example, abundance. We all know that, in the spiritual kind of life and in the New Age movement that I'm so fond of, you can kind of pray for abundance and you can meditate and you can get it to happen. And the people who really practice that to the best live the kind of life that's going to attract it. It's no good just kind of waiting for these things to happen. The planet won't bring it by itself. If you're up for it, if you're ready, if you're actually willing to step up to the mark and you've got a plan, then Jupiter is going to bring the energy you want. Possibly not when it's retrograde, but that's just until the 10th of July. It gives you plenty of time to plan, doesn't it? While Jupiter is retrograde, it's a time of less work, recharging your batteries really, but not just having a rest and that's the end of it, but it's because of building up for the next leg of life, the next steps in your journey. Okay. Well, I've no idea how long I've got on because I'm looking at the rear camera and I can't see the timer thing on the screen. I am actually now going to get up, walk around the back of the thing and switch it off because my production values are so low. But thanks guys, thank you very much for keeping it real, keeping it Twig Brother out there. Don't forget to check out the Twig Brother channel, just Twig Brother on my own, where I do wood turning and I've been planting some stuff this week, getting the UK garden going because it's spring. It's all kind of fun, but I made this a special place for it, not just for astrology, but for all the esoteric, spiritual kind of things. So I can say things without kind of secular wood turners shooting me down, because we can't have that. Okay guys, thank you very much again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment and we'll share the journey. I hope you have a brilliant Sunday the 25th of March guys. I'm now going to walk around the back of the tablet and switch it off, which is crazy, but I'm doing it. Thanks a lot then. Bye bye.